Welcome to another episode of Vet Sequence. I'm your host, Addy Half. Um, and with me always is Hendrix. You can follow us on all on all social medias. I am Addy Half or Vet Sequence on Twitter. Hendrix is Atlas Chronicles 1 on Twitter. What else, Hendrix? Facebook? At Birth of an Idea on Facebook. There you go. Okay, so this is a solo podcast just between me and Hendrix today. I feel the meaning of this podcast needs to be explained. This is a mental health podcast. It is ran by veterans. It is not only for veterans. I search out the veterans because they, more times than not, have the extreme stories. That's why I had an ICU nurse and a firefighter on, and you heard Hendrix's story because I want to hear the extreme pains throughout life, and that's all this show is learning from each other. Think of this as group therapy. Uh, I want people to be able to come onto this platform and just tell their story and be comfortable doing it. Hopefully, we will see more of that in the future. But today we're going to break down our podcast into a couple sections, and the first one is going to be pandemic and the mental stressors that come with it. Um, there was a lot of stuff going on in the psychology world when the pandemic started, um, and they were starting to refer to it as pandemic fatigue. And with pandemic fatigue, there comes in this feeling of imprisonment, trapped because we are not allowed because of these restrictions that are put upon us that we have to do. More so here in Germany, we go through severe lockdowns where they shut everything down, and now we are only able to shop at big stores if we make an appointment online. So just it's a different view of the pandemic over here. What do you see as the differences, Hendrix, is the pandemic for the Americans that to the side of the Germans?
Over here, it's just more logical. I mean, I don't mind the whole lockdown over here because I don't like seeing a lot of people, anyways. I don't like people at the grocery store off my face, and you know how Germans like to, they don't know personal space, anyways, at a shopping place like Coughlin. When you're in line, there's like 50 people in like 7 feet, and I like this way better, but it still kind of sucks because you got people at work who just go to work and go home because they're scared to go out, and it's just why? I don't understand most of it, but sometimes it's better. Some things are better, some things are not better.
Well, the thing why people do that is it's the fear. I mean, look at the fear just on a daily basis. You open up any social media page or you look at any headline, it's all emotional based. It's attacking the emotions. It's what's going to get the biggest emotional rise out of people is how you get the clicks, and that's what they do on these big media platforms like the news on the TV and stuff like that. It is emotional based and it's fear based.
Well, you're not wrong, but that's the reason I don't watch German news or any news at all because when I go outside out in the streets, if I didn't even know it was COVID season, I wouldn't even it wouldn't even like register. Like people wearing masks, okay, that's completely fine, but why are you gonna wear a mask outside, like walking down the street? And it
Yeah.
makes no sense to me at all. Like inside, I kind of get it because you're close to people and some people's breaths stink. That's another thing I like about it. I haven't smelt someone's breath, nasty ass breath, in like a year and a half, and it's quite amazing.
Yeah. And yeah, not being able to smell fucking stank mouth is good. That's always a plus. Uh, but with the pandemic and how it's run, I don't know. It's controversial because we allow our emotions to get in the way of scientific fact. I see that as a big problem. Many people won't agree with that, but If you can't separate yourself from emotion when you're talking about stuff like science and virology and stuff like that, then there's no point in science because you're supposed to be unbiased. And what do we have in this world that's unbiased right now? Nothing.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's absolutely nothing that's unbiased, which kind of aggravates me because everyone's all about wear your mask, wear your mask, wear your mask. There's a virus going around. Keyword virus. They soak in through the eyeballs too. So why am I wearing a piece of tissue paper when it could easily? Sure, I wear glasses, but they're not safety glasses.
Yeah, uh, there's flaws in the way that stuff was done, but I think on the world scale, they did as best as they could, as fast as they could. I mean, I don't think anybody saw this. I don't think anybody predicted the fucking Spanish flu either. You know what I mean? Like they had to jump on top of it, and of course you're gonna fail, but you learn through the failures. Uh, the whole restriction thing. I understand it. If cases over here get too high, they shut everything down for 5 days. That's the new rules. They have a number. If it goes above that number of reported incidents, then they shut everything down for a couple days, and if it drops, then they open it back up. But it's still online shopping, online to mean appointment making for shopping. It's just I can see why people are feeling like they're in a cage. Um, it's a prison if you look at it that way, you know. So and with that, I had the weird mindset of going into this pandemic, first of fear, and then second of, oh man, this has only happened a couple times in human history. It's kind of cool. It's shitty that people are dying and that people don't understand the science of stuff, but it's cool because now we have a chance to slow the fuck down and maybe work on ourselves. And that's what I did, as I started working on myself. Because now I was at a point at the beginning of the pandemic where I shut off Facebook and Twitter, and I got off of every social media and stopped reading news. I still don't read news. News comes to me through my wife or through other people. I try not to read it. It's just it makes me anxious, gives me anxiety, and I don't like it. It just stays in my brain.
That's what I used to do. I actually didn't realize that there was a pandemic until like 3 weeks later when I checked the news online like an idiot and noticed that America's going down. And that's what I like about the difference between here and America is in America nobody takes it serious, so all their hospitals are crowded. People are dying left and right because there's no help because of the hospitals are crowded. Yet here, during the spike of everything, they still had hospital beds, rooms available. There was no crowding. There was no flooding in the hospitals. It was just kind of like normal. It was kind of like flu season, but a little worse. You know?
See, in Kaiserslautern, they were having trouble with the first wave. I think everybody had trouble with the first wave, keeping up with hospital staff and stuff like that, beds and turnover and stuff like that. Um, but what did you do? Like once you found out we were in a pandemic and these lockdowns were being in place, like what was your thought process at the beginning of this?
Absolutely nothing because I still went to work and came back home. I've done nothing past 4 years. I no First 2 years I was here, I went to work at a part-time job that was shitty as fuck, and then I went to school, and then I came home. Then I quit that job and got the job here, and then I started going to work and coming home. So my life really never actually changed. Actually, my life changed during the middle of the pandemic when I started going out because there was nobody out.
See, that's what I don't understand is like how much has life actually changed? Like we do have to make appointments to go shop. You can't like I think another stipulation is only one family member from a household can go into another household to visit, something like that. Yeah, or you can get fined money. But like other than that, like what has really changed? Yeah, I can't go to a fucking restaurant and buy food to shove in my fat face in front of people, and I can't go clothes shopping willingly. But other than that, it's like what has changed? You go to work, you come home, you do your dinner, you go to sleep, you do it again. Like there's no difference.
Well, I mean, nothing's changed on my end with the whole shopping thing because I like going in and getting out. Like I don't like spending my time there. There's too many people there.
Yeah.
And that's how it's been throughout my entire life. When I go shopping, I know what I want to get. I go in, I get it, I'm out in 5 minutes. And then COVID happened and people have to make an appointment. That is perfect for me. Because, like, if I need tools at Tomb, it used to be I'd go there, I'd go in, get out. Now I can order online, go there, pick it up, get out. Like, I don't even park my bike at the bike racks anymore. I just pull straight up to the front door, walk in, walk out, and by the time the old guy gets up to the door with his old walker, I'm already out and away. So it's a lot easier for me. But I do have people in America, one person in America who thinks that, you know, just because what she's experienced, that means the whole world has experienced it too. But she's never actually moved out of her home state or even city. And she says that her city's fine, so the rest of the world's fine. It's like, no, the rest of the world is kind of suffering. Actually, the rest of America is suffering. Most of the world has it kind of under control, but not really. But like, I want to bring her out of her state to show her how the real world is, how everything's flooding, hospitals are going downhill, people are quitting, people are tired, they're stressed, nurses are reaching their endpoints. You have to make appointments for everything. You do get fines if you get caught out after a certain time or whatever, or if you have more than one family member at an event. It's like I want to show her that, but she's not going to put up with it.
Well, of course not. She has to go through her own stuff. She has to learn that on her own. That's one of those the stupid things with humans in general is like you can tell somebody the answer till you're blue in the face, but they're not going to listen. They have to find it out on their own. And I mean, some people listen to reason, some people don't. I mean, it depends on the relationship that you have with them. What's the emotional bond and stuff like that. It's hard to help guide somebody that you know because more times than not you're too close to the situation. And yeah, when you're too close and you have that emotional bond, uh, it gets rocky. There's a lot of red tape to get around without hurting anybody's feelings.
I Yeah, I actually stopped messaging her because she said that she's not going to listen to me because blah blah blah. Like I'm living in Germany, so I have no right to an opinion on the rest of the world. Like that, how does that make me not have a right to the rest of the world? When I see this stuff, I have friends from all over the world telling me this stuff that they're tired, that they're some of them are nurses, they're tired, they're reaching breaking points, they're ready to quit. Some friends can't really handle not being able to go out because they're not what is that other word? Not introvert, extrovert.
Extrovert.
Yeah, extrovert, and they're not used to being cooped up in the house all day. And I actually stopped messaging her because she wasn't gonna listen or anything else like that. And then I told her that she was ignorant, and she said that since I'm gonna call her names, like that's a fucking name. But she just doesn't listen to anything. She thinks that whatever happens in her city is happening in the rest of the world.
Well, I mean, that's a perfect example of self-projection on a situation, you know. That's a it's all perspective, man. It's all perspective. If you can tear down those mental walls that you have built since childhood to see like the world for what it is instead of seeing it through like anger or seeing it through jealousy, whatever emotion. If you can see the world and discern emotion from logic, then that's the point when people are willing to learn. But not until then. There's no telling what's the breaking point. That's the sad thing is you got to watch somebody fall on their face, fall down a dark hole to help them back out. And the more times than not, they'll just self-destruct, and it's sad. And I don't like it. I saw a friend here self-destruct due to the pandemic fatigue. He doesn't know who he is. He's trying to find himself, and I try to talk to him. I try my best. I try not to step on emotion, and stuff like that. But it's very hard to it's very hard to help somebody that you know, and that isn't uncomfortable with you stepping on their emotions.
Yeah, that's what I gave up with a lot of my friends, trying to show them the way. Weirdly enough, the German people I do talk to have common sense. Like,
What do you mean?
like with the woman back in the states, my friend that I stopped talking to, she's all about whatever happening in her city is nothing. That's what's happening across the world. So she's not going to follow any of the guidelines. But here are the few German friends I have. They actually plan around it. If they need something, they make an appointment for it. If somebody invites them somewhere, they're not going to go if there's a certain amount of people, or they don't meet up with a lot of friends. They actually have them come over if they, if they're close. Like how Germans have the same friends since primary school.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the Germans, they're very efficient. I mean, as a people, as a people, the Germans are just efficient. They're engineers. They're very logical. Um, but they have their own form of like whatever you want to call it, quote unquote brainwash or whatever. I don't know. But how they perceive life is just school, uh after school, get a job, and then work until you die, and like that's life. And that's a problem that I've run into here is talking with these people and building these friendships only with a select few, because they are not like the other Germans. They're the black sheep of culture here, because their ideas are different. You know, they don't believe that work is or life is just work, that you live to work, that Germans work to live. You know.
That's a weird thing. I just figured out the echo, so that's what the tape is for. That's what I kind of like about the some Germans. Like, that woman I was telling you about that when she said that, hey, I watched your podcast, and I had that miniature panic moment. Like, I've never, like, she's got to be like 21 or something like that, 21 or 22. Like, she's young, she's tiny. But that's like, she goes to school and she goes to work. But at that age, school and work, you know, build your future. But at a certain age, you got to get past that. You got to realize that there's more to it. Like, if you when you finish your school, like Ausbildung, and you can get the job of your dreams, stop. Go enjoy life. Start doing things that you didn't do as a young, But yeah, she's got to be like, I don't know, 20, 21, 22, something like that. But she actually goes to school and she works part-time. It's random days. Like, her part-time isn't a set part-time. It's just random days. And yeah, if she's not doing work, she's doing school. But at that age, it's the right way to go. But like, I'm gonna say, like, after Ausbildung, like when you're 26 or 27, stop. Like, you finished Ausbildung, you finished Hochschule, you finished all the schools you can get. Why not go enjoy life?
Well, dude, that's I mean, I'll put that in my use that in my life. Why not, dude? Because I've been like right now, I've enjoyed life, and now I know that I'm on a path where I'm just gonna be on a never-ending path of learning. Trying to get a doctorate and stuff like that. Getting a doctorate, it's gonna be a lot of work and a lot of schooling, man. I got another 5 years. I'm 32. I'm not going to be done with school. It's annoying, but learning doesn't stop. That's why I'm such a fan of it. I wish I would have had this mindset when I was younger of learning, like the importance of it, I guess, which sounds really dumb and weird, but um, yeah, I don't. I'm so glad that I can get through this pandemic and be able to focus on myself and kind of block out the negativity, cutting that fat off of the negative social media and negative news and stuff like that, and actually just touching bases with who Addison is and going to school and learning more about myself through school was everything for me. And exercise. Like if I didn't run, dude, I'd kill a lot of people. I know that. Like I have to run, I have to work out, I got to do yoga, and the eating. Like it sucks that it's taken me 32 years to realize that all this shit goes into one, the learning, the exercise, the eating healthy. If you can't have a healthy brain without having a healthy body and vice versa. And man, this pandemic has been a blessing for me. That's all about that.
But well, I mean, yeah, with the learning, it never stops. Yeah, that's true. But there's at a certain point where you gotta not full time school yourself. Like you started school late in life. I'm just now taking classes on video editing and out of damn, I already forgot the name of the school, but it's like free for me for the first like 4 semesters. I think it's free. Yeah, I found a deal. Can't wait to finish that. But yeah, like I'm 30 years old and I'm just now starting school. But like if you start young, like like that woman I told you about, she started super young and she's still going to, Ausbildung or Hochschule. I forgot which one she's in. Berufsschule? I don't know. But yeah, like when you start young and you get it all complete, yeah, sure, learning doesn't stop and everything, but there's at a certain point where it becomes more of a hobby and not life. And it's
Well,
just yeah.
like me and you, we would have never made it in the traditional sense of going to school and then living your life. You know, we had to live our life to fuck up, to fall down, to get perspective smacked into us so that we could go back to where we should have been when we were 18, you know, and fucking go back to school and stuff like that. It's kind of fucked up how that works.
Yeah, there's a I went to the University of Google's and YouTube, but yeah, I pretty much sucked life when I was in high school because I hated it. I If I did show up, I didn't really learn much. I just fell asleep, but that was all because of how I was raised and everything that went behind the scenes while not at school. So yeah.
Yeah. Um, I don't know, man. Uh, I hope this shit ends, you know, so that people kind of get the feeling of like they're getting let out of prison, I guess, when the restrictions lift and stuff like that. But man, I just don't see how you can't take this as a vacation from work. I mean, look, people are working from home. This is going to be a huge industry to jump into, home office and stuff like that. You know, it's like it's crazy. It's revolutionizing how we look at work. Is it bad that you have work at home? Yeah, especially if you're at a high demand job like lawyer, anything, or school or teacher, anything that's high demanding behind a computer. But I don't know. It's just it's a fucking blessing, dude.
I actually kind of enjoyed, I mean, it's bad to say, I kind of enjoyed COVID because, sure, there was a bad time with a breakup a year ago, and that went to shit. What?
Was it a year ago?
Yeah, it was a year ago that we split up and we lived together for an entire year.
What?
Yeah, but I mean, it was the worst thing in the world because I had to live with my ex, and she's an extrovert. She likes to go dancing and whatever and meet guys, and we're not gonna get into that. Uh, but it sucked because I'm a I'm a homebody. You know, my office is here. My hobbies are here. This little area, this is my hobbies, my life, my work. Like literally, I have two screens. One is work, one is hobby. Two computers, work, hobby. Uh, so my life is always here because I'm always building something. I'm always doing something. Something's moving around. But she couldn't stand it, so it was like while I enjoyed COVID because it meant that I had no excuse to go out, I could enjoy life here and work on myself here. I hated it because all I heard was complaining and nagging and blah blah blah, and that she couldn't go out and she couldn't meet friends and just constant nagging and bitching. And it got to the point where I was walking on eggshells because no matter what I did, there was always something wrong with it because she couldn't handle being indoors like I could.
Well, I mean, that's a huge part of the population had to learn that, you know, how to if you're fucking raised to go on this run lifestyle, never stop. Well, guess what? It fucking stopped. What are you gonna do with your life now? What are you gonna do? You got so much time on your hands. You ain't got your face to face contact. You don't have your physical job. Most people, and most likely you have your kids at home if you're here in Germany. I don't know how it is in the States. Um, what are you gonna do? And that's the thing that fucking pissed me off is I heard so many German parents complain that they wanted to go back to work and their families were home. It was mind boggling to me. I was like, why in the fuck wouldn't you want to be with your family? Like, why is work so important? Yeah, I understand money, but the government has you. We live in a socialism part of the world. Like socialism is a thing. It's here. You will be taken care of. And I don't get it. It's so I just don't understand. I don't understand.
It's that's just the way they are. But some people you gotta enjoy it because the way they go about it is the most funniest thing in the world. But sometimes it does get annoying because like if like today, like it's sunny, like if I wasn't recording and I actually had a friend that would like to go out, that'd be a perfect day to go out. You know, it's COVID season. No one's out or barely anybody's outdoors. There's people are meeting up, sure, but not a lot of them. So that'd be a perfect day to go out and do something with a friend, but they're all about I want to go back to work. It's COVID season. I can't go outdoors. Says who? Nobody in the world says that. So why are you limiting yourself to just coming home and going to work? I understand why I do it because I enjoy it. Coming home, doing my shit, then I go to work. Because that's just me. That's how I was born, or that's how I was raised. That's how I enjoy life. I work on me here. But with other people, why don't you get out?
I don't know, man. They build those mental traps, the mental walls up so high they can't find themselves out, and it imprisons them. They are in a mental prison because of themselves. That's just how it works. You fucking barricade, self barricade, you know, in your safe place in your cage, and you do whatever you got to do to numb yourself. TV, alcohol, drugs, whatever, dude. Video games, anything could be used as a drug. I don't care if I'm gonna catch heat for saying that, but anything can be used as a drug. Um, yeah, exercise. I've used exercise as a drug. Last year, I was training for a marathon, and I injured my left hip and foot for 6 months. I pulled a tendon, and man, it sucked, but it taught me to slow down a little bit. It made me stop and focus more on my mental health and my physical health. Um, that's when the readings from the school got more interesting, and I started learning about psychological theory and stuff like that.
So, how have you handled COVID these last few minutes? You're gonna answer that question. How did you handle COVID? Yeah, and then we're gonna answer mine. How did I handle it?
I handled.
Like, what changed about you? Like, if COVID wouldn't have happened, what would have not happened to you?
For me, I had more access to my friends here in Germany, because they were either we were in a lockdown or anything like that where nobody had to work anymore. So I was on WhatsApp. WhatsApp was my crack, like talking to people. That's my drug right there. And I talking to all these people, getting closer with them, reigniting relationships from the past here in Germany from when I first got out of the army. Um, yeah, dude, the how I handled COVID is I learned how to be with myself. I learned what I have to do to take care of myself mentally, physically, and spiritually. I learned me over COVID pretty much. That's how I took care of myself. How did you take care of yourself during COVID?
Well, absolutely nothing changed to the way I go about life, but I have stopped drinking. I've stopped, or my smoking has gone down to instead of like a pack and a half a day to a little bitty pack every 4 days. But My most important thing is I've nested instead of going to work and coming home and getting behind the computer screens to escape nagging. I've used COVID to go to work, come back, and fix this place up. So yeah, I guess COVID kind of helped me become me, more me, and make the place I'm living at my place. I guess. I guess the like nesting, like like birds, they make their nest completely perfect, whatever. Yeah, that's basically what I did. I started working on me more, stop drinking, less smoking, more doing.
Yeah, with me was another huge part of my pandemic thus far is podcast, man. I stopped or I started listening to more podcasts, less music, and Rogan, man. Joe Rogan changed my life. Not him himself, but his show. The guests that he has on his show. Dr. Rhonda Patrick taught me how to eat healthy and what these foods do to you, like broccoli sprouts. One of the most amazing things you can do is eat broccoli sprouts because it cleans out all the dead shit in your blood, all the dying blood cells and stuff like that. Amazing. Um, and from there, I followed a bunch of different comedy podcasts, and with that came Your Mom's House. And with Your Mom's House came Dr. Drew After Dark. And with Dr. Drew After Dark, Dr. Drew and Christina Pajinski started talking about the need for a rational revolution in our country. And they put the idea out there. And in the midst of a manic episode, uh, I grabbed hold of this idea and I ran with it. And I wrote them an email from my burner account. And it was probably manic as fuck and probably unreadable. I still have it saved on my computer. Um, but I took that idea of rational revolution, and that's what this podcast is. Um, the way to rational revolution is through yourself. If you can't get through your past, uh, then you're not going to see what's coming in the future. Um, you have to work through your shit. You have to be able to separate your emotions from your logical thinking. You got to use your emotions and logic as a tool, not as a I wear it every day. It's has to be interchangeable. And that's the rational revolution. And that's what I want this podcast to be. And I think the way to do that is to have people understand pain and what true pain is, and by seeing pain on the people that come on this podcast and talk and tell their story. And yes, this is the rational revolution. This is how we get it. We hear people's pain, we heal them, we give them tips, they follow along, and hopefully we can heal together. And we will be back soon for the second part of this episode.